They thought removing humanity would make the galaxy safer. They had no idea they were about to create something unstoppable. The Galactic Council chamber was brighter than usual that day. Long towers of white metal reached high above the circular hall. Floating screens showed the symbols of 100 alien empires. At the center of the chamber stood a single platform. On that platform stood the human representative. Ambassador Elias Rowan stood straight and calm. He knew the decision had already been made. Around him, the alien leaders whispered in low, strange voices. Some had glowing eyes. Some had skin like stone. Others moved like shadows under their robes. The High Speaker of the Council rose slowly. His tall, thin body shimmered under the light. His voice echoed through the hall. Humanity has grown too bold, too fast, too ambitious. Murmurs filled the chamber. He continued, "Your fleets expand beyond agreed limits. Your colonies grow without approval. Your technology develops without sharing. This is dangerous for galactic balance." Elias did not interrupt. He simply listened. Another alien leader spoke. Humans are unpredictable. They solve problems with force. They challenge authority. One by one, the voices added their accusations. Aggressive, restless, dangerous. Finally, the High Speaker raised his hand. The hall became silent. The vote will now begin. Symbols flashed above the chamber. One by one, the empires cast their decision. Remove, remove, remove. Very few voted to support Earth. Within seconds, it was done. The symbol of humanity slowly faded from the central display, replaced by empty space. Humanity is hereby exiled from the Galactic Council. All trade agreements suspended. All military cooperation ended. Earth stands alone. The chamber felt colder. Elias closed his eyes for a moment. Then he opened them again. He did not beg. He did not argue. He only spoke once. History will remember this choice. Then he stepped down from the platform. Far away in the Sol system, the news reached Earth. Cities fell silent. People watched the broadcast on screens in homes and streets. Some felt fear. Others felt anger. But inside the United Earth Command building, the mood was different. President Amara Khan stood in a dark room, watching the final moment of the vote. Around her stood general scientists and industrial leaders. No one spoke until the screen went black. Then the president turned slowly. Phase 1 begins now. The generals nodded. For years, humanity had prepared for this possibility. While still part of the council, they had quietly invested in hidden shipyards. Deep in asteroid belts. Behind gas giants. Far from alien sensors. Construction teams were already in position. Within hours, encrypted messages were sent across the solar system. Activate silent dockyards. Begin full production. Increase energy output. Massive stations that once looked like mining platforms began to unfold. Metallic arms stretched outward. Assembly lines powered on. Reactors glowed bright blue. In orbit around Mars, a structure the size of a city came to life. Its outer shell split open, revealing the frame of a warship far larger than any built before. This was not panic. This was preparation. Back in council space, the alien leaders celebrated quietly. They believed peace had been restored. They believed the unstable species had been removed. Trade routes adjusted. Military patrols relaxed. Humanity would fade, they thought, cut off and isolated. But they did not see the lights growing brighter in the darkness of the Sol system. They did not hear the sound of steel being shaped in zero gravity. They did not know that exile had not weakened humanity. It had freed them. And as the first massive hull section of a new class of human warship locked into place, a single message echoed through United Earth Command. We will not ask for a seat again. We will build our own table. The galaxy forgot about humanity. At least that is what they believed. Months passed after the exile. No human ships entered council space. No messages were sent. No protests were made. Earth became silent. In the Grand Council chamber, the alien leaders spoke less about humans. New trade deals were signed. New borders were discussed. Peace felt comfortable again. They told themselves the problem was solved. But far from their shining worlds, the Sol system was changing. Deep inside the asteroid belt, thousands of machines worked without rest. Massive rings of metal rotated slowly around hidden cores. Construction drones moved like swarms of insects, cutting, welding, shaping. No signals left the system. No open transmissions. Only tight, encrypted bursts between stations. On Earth, factories expanded under mountains. Ship designs once considered too ambitious were now approved. Scientists tested engines that bent space in new ways. Power cores glowed brighter than ever before. This was not rebuilding. This was transformation. In orbit around Jupiter, a shadow moved. At first, it looked like a mining platform, old and forgotten. Then its outer shell separated, revealing layered armor beneath. Long weapon arrays folded outward. Its true shape was enormous. The first of the Sovereign class. Admiral Soren Vale stood on a command deck watching the holographic projection of the fleet grow. His face was calm, but his eyes were sharp. How many completed, he asked. A quiet officer replied. 3 operational. 5 under final assembly. 12 hulls in construction. And the Council knows nothing. No confirmed detection, sir. Vale nodded slowly. Good. While the Council believed humanity was wounded, human engineers pushed beyond former limits. They combined civilian innovation with military strength. Freighter designs became supply carriers. Colony ships carried hidden defense systems. Every vessel built now had a second purpose. Even human colonies changed. New settlements were founded beyond old borders. Not inside Council territory, but outside it. Uncharted regions, dark sectors, forgotten star lanes. Human explorers moved quietly, mapping routes no one had cared about before. In Council space, small rumors began to spread. Independent traders reported strange energy readings near the edge of human territory. Scouts mentioned increased patrols, but the High Speaker dismissed it. Humans are rebuilding, he said. Nothing more. Still, one alien intelligence director was not convinced. Director Thalen of the Corellian Union studied the reports carefully. Patterns formed where others saw noise. Energy spikes, mass transfers, unusual silence. You were a long-range probe sent toward the Sol system. Weeks later, the probe vanished. No signal, no debris, nothing. Thalen felt something cold settle in his chest. Back in Sol space, Admiral Vale watched the destruction of the probe on a silent screen. The fleet had detected it before it crossed the outer perimeter. Let them wonder, Vale said quietly. On Mars, the largest shipyard ever built by humanity reached full power. The structure stretched across orbit like a metal ring around the planet. Inside it, a new design was being assembled. Not a battleship, not a carrier, something larger. Engineers called it a cornerstone. Its purpose was not just war. It was command, coordination, expansion. This was no longer about defense. President Amara Khan stood before a closed council of human leaders. They removed us from their system, she said. So we will build our own. Trade routes are shifting toward us. Smaller species are watching, waiting. We will not beg for allies. We will become the power they seek. Silence filled the room. Far away, Director Thalen sent a warning to the Council. Humanity is not weakening. They are consolidating. Their silence is strategic. But many leaders laughed. They believed time favored them. They did not see the fleet forming in disciplined rows beyond Pluto. They did not see the new colonies pledging loyalty directly to Earth. They did not understand that humanity was no longer thinking like a council member. They were thinking like founders. And as the first cornerstone vessel powered on, its engines humming like distant thunder, a single thought passed through Admiral Vala's mind. This is only the beginning. The first time the galaxy truly felt fear was not during a battle. It was during a scan. On the outer edge of Council space, a long-range observation station detected something impossible. At first, the operators believed it was a sensor error. A cluster of energy readings appeared near a dark region between mapped systems. The numbers were too high, too organized, too controlled. The The station commander ordered a deeper scan. The result made his blood run cold. It was a fleet, not scattered ships, not civilian traffic, a formation, perfect lines, synchronized power signatures, engines running at minimal output, waiting. The information was rushed to the Galactic Council. Within hours, the chamber was alive again. The High Speaker demanded clarification. Whose fleet is this? No known empire claimed it. No transponder codes match council records. Then Director Thalen stepped forward. It is human. The chamber fell silent. Impossible, one delegate whispered. They were isolated. Another added. Their economy should have collapsed. Thalen projected the data into the center of the hall. Massive hull signatures filled the display. Larger than previous human warships. More numerous. They did not collapse, Thalen said quietly. They consolidated. Far beyond Pluto, Admiral Soren Vale stood on the command deck of the Sovereign-class flagship Horizon Dawn. Before him stretched the largest human fleet ever assembled. Rows of battleships, carrier platforms, support vessels, logistics ships, all aligned in calm, disciplined silence. This was not a show of desperation. This was structure. Vale listened as fleet control confirmed readiness. All groups synchronized. Cornerstone vessel online. Outer perimeter secure. The cornerstone ship Dominion Prime floated at the center. Its hull layered in heavy armor. Its command arrays extending like a crown. It was not built for one battle. It was built to control many. On Earth, President Amara Khan addressed a private broadcast to every colony and station. Today we reveal our strength, not to threaten, but to declare. We are no longer members of their council. We are builders of our own future. Across human territory, signals activated. New beacons lit up in unclaimed systems. Trade corridors were marked. Security zones established. The human empire was no longer hidden. In council space, panic grew. Emergency sessions were called. Military advisors demanded mobilization. But uncertainty slowed them. If they attack, one leader asked, can we stop them? Intelligence reports flooded in. Human technology had advanced beyond expectation. Their ships carried hybrid weapons. Their defensive systems adapted in real time. Their logistics chains were independent. They no longer depended on council supply routes. Director Thalen spoke again. They prepared for years. We misjudged their silence. The High Speaker felt the weight of the decision made seasons ago. Remove humanity. Cut their influence. Restore balance. Instead, they had removed restraint. Back in Horizon Dawn, Admiral Vale received a coded message. Multiple smaller alien states are requesting communication. They fear council protection is unreliable. Vale allowed himself a faint smile. Open channels. Offer partnership, not domination. Human envoys began reaching out, promising security, fair trade, mutual respect. Word spread quickly. Human ships protect their lanes. Human fleets respond faster than council patrols. Neutral systems began aligning with Earth, not through force, but through trust. The council watched their authority shrink. Then a final shock arrived. Deep scans revealed more construction. Beyond the first fleet, beyond the visible shipyards. Another formation in progress. This is not a fleet, one council general whispered. This is expansion, and in the quiet darkness of space. As Horizon Dawn led the formation toward the edge of former council territory, Admiral Vale looked at the glowing stars ahead. We were exiled, he said softly. Now they will witness what exile created. Fear spread through the council faster than any fleet. But fear alone did not start the war. It started with a smaller world. The planet Avalon was not powerful. It was not rich. It was not important to the major empires. Its people were traders and farmers. Their ships were light transport vessels. Their defense grid was old. When the Drathri War clan entered their system, no one from the council moved to help. The Drathri were brutal and direct. They did not hide their intentions. Their warships tore through Avalon's orbital stations within hours. Their leader broadcast a single message: submit or burn. Avalon sent distress calls across council space. The signals reached the Galactic Chamber. The leaders debated. Intervention would require fleet movement. Fleet movement would require votes. Votes would require agreement. Agreement never came. Avalon burned while the council argued. But the distress call did not only reach the council. It reached the edge of human territory. On Dominion Prime, the alert flashed across the central display. Civilian population under attack. Council response delayed. Estimated planetary collapse in 18 hours. Admiral Soren Vale did not hesitate. Prepare rapid response group. Activate strike formation. Officers moved instantly. Engines roared to life. A section of the human fleet detached from the main formation. These ships were not slow diplomatic cruisers. They were sharp, heavy, and built for decisive action. Within minutes, they entered fold space. In the Avalon system, chaos ruled. Drathri warships hovered above cities. Fire streaked across the sky. Defense cannons failed one by one. Then space itself seemed to ripple. Human vessels emerged in perfect alignment. Sleek dark hulls. Weapons charged. Shields glowing. The Drathri commander laughed at first. Another weak species, he thought. He ordered his ships forward. The first exchange lasted less than 30 seconds. Human targeting systems adjusted instantly. Precision strikes disabled Drathri engines. Shield harmonics collapsed under coordinated fire. One by one, the War Clan ships lost power. The Drathri tried to retreat. Human interceptors cut off their escape. On Dominion Prime, Vale watched calmly. Disable them. Leave one ship intact. A single Drathri vessel remained functional. Its weapons offline. Its engines crippled. Vale opened a channel. This system is under human protection now. Leave and carry this message. Humanity does not seek conflict, but we will not ignore injustice. The surviving Drathri ship fled. On Avalon, the skies cleared. Fire still burned on the surface, but the invasion was over. Human medical ships descended first, followed by engineering vessels. They did not demand tribute. They did not claim territory. They repaired orbital stations, restored power grids, helped rebuild. The people of Avalon watched in disbelief. News of the intervention spread rapidly. In council space, the reaction was divided. Some leaders were relieved. Others were alarmed. They acted without authorization. One delegate shouted, "They saved a world," another replied. Director Thalen studied the reports carefully. Human fleet response time, 6 hours. Council projected response time, 36 hours. The difference was undeniable. Small neutral systems began sending quiet messages toward human space. Requests for defense agreements, trade partnerships, protection guarantees. Meanwhile, on Earth, President Amara Khan addressed her advisors. "We do not conquer," she said. "We protect, and protection builds loyalty." Back on Avalon, the local governor stood before Admiral Vale on a projected screen. "We were abandoned by the council, but you came." Vale answered simply, "We remember what it feels like to stand alone." As human ships formed a defensive perimeter around a recovering planet, a new reality settled across the galaxy. Humanity was no longer isolated. They were becoming something else. Not just a fleet, not just an alliance, but the foundation of a new order. And in the silent halls of the Galactic Council, for the first time since the exile, many leaders began to wonder, had they just created their replacement? The moment Avalon survived, the galaxy shifted. It was quiet at first. No grand announcement. No formal declaration. Just signals moving through space. Small systems began redirecting trade routes toward human space. Independent merchants requested docking rights near Sol. Minor species sent encrypted greetings. They did not trust the Council anymore. They trusted action. On Dominion Prime, Admiral Soren Vale stood before a growing holographic map. New blue markers appeared one by one. Avalon Defense Pact confirmed. 3 outer colonies requesting patrol support. 2 trade consortiums transferring contracts. Vale watched the map slowly change color. Human territory was expanding, not by conquest, but by choice. President Amara Khan addressed a private summit of human leaders. "This is the turning point," she said. "We do not force allegiance. We offer stability. If they stand with us, they stand equal." Her words spread across allied channels. Recorded, translated, repeated. For the first time in decades, smaller species felt heard. Meanwhile, inside the Galactic Council chamber, tension rose. The High Speaker demanded status updates. "How many systems have signed agreements with Earth?" Director Thalen responded calmly. 17 confirmed. More in negotiation. Outrage filled the hall. "They are building a rival coalition." One delegate shouted. Another slammed a clawed hand against the table. "This is rebellion." Thalen shook his head slightly. "No, this is replacement." The word hung heavy in the air. While the council argued, humanity moved carefully. Human envoys traveled in modest vessels. No heavy escorts. No visible weapons. They spoke of shared defense, shared innovation, shared growth. And unlike the council, they listened. In the outer regions, a once-forgotten system named Veridan made a decision. Their leaders had long been ignored by the major powers. Their requests for infrastructure aid were denied repeatedly. When a human delegation arrived, they did not promise dominance. They offered partnership. Veridan accepted. Their shipyards joined human construction networks. Their scientists shared research. Their citizens gained access to protected trade lanes. One system became 5. 5 became 12. A network formed. On Earth, new command structures were drafted. Not a council, but a charter. Each allied system kept its voice, its culture, its independence. But defense would be unified. The cornerstone vessel Dominion Prime became the central node of this new alliance. Communication arrays extended farther than before, linking dozens of systems into a secure network. And still more ships were being built. Deep in hidden docks, a second Cornerstone-class vessel neared completion, larger than the first, equipped with advanced coordination systems. This was no longer preparation for survival. This was preparation for permanence. In Council space, fear turned to desperation. Economic flows shifted. Minor species stopped paying traditional tariffs. Fleet recruitment slowed. The High Speaker finally said the words many feared. "We must confront humanity directly." But confrontation carried risk. Human fleets were stronger than expected. Their technology adapted quickly. Their alliances were voluntary. Force might push more systems toward Earth. Director Thalen offered a final warning. "If we attack, we prove their message. If we ignore them, they continue to grow. Either way, the balance has changed." Far beyond the debate, Admiral Vale received a quiet transmission. "Multiple Council border fleets are mobilizing. Movement unclear." Vale looked at the expanding alliance map. "They will test us soon," he said. "Prepare defensive posture. No first strike." Human fleets adjusted position. Not advancing, not retreating, waiting. Across dozens of newly allied systems, a new symbol began to appear. A simple mark representing unity without control. It spread faster than any decree. And as the second Cornerstone vessel powered on, its massive engines humming through the dark, a realization moved through the galaxy. Humanity was no longer building in secret. They were building in plain sight. Not just a fleet, not just protection, but an empire chosen freely. And this time, no vote could erase it. The day the Council fleets moved, the galaxy held its breath. Long lines of warships gathered along the old border of human space. Heavy cruisers, carrier groups, defense platforms. More ships than had been assembled in decades. The Council called it a security exercise. Everyone knew it was a warning. Inside the Grand Chamber, the High Speaker delivered a final message. Human expansion threatens galactic stability. Return to Council authority. Dissolve your unauthorized alliances, or face unified enforcement. The message was transmitted across dozens of systems. It reached Earth within seconds. On Dominion Prime, Admiral Soren Vale listened without expression. Around him, the command deck remained calm. No panic, No raised voices. President Amara Khan stood beside him. "This was inevitable," she said. Vale nodded. "Open a channel to the entire council fleet." Across the border space, human ships shifted formation. Not aggressive, not retreating, precise. Two cornerstone vessels floated at the center. Dominion Prime and its newly completed sister ship, Sovereign Light. Their massive hulls dwarfing even the largest council carriers. Behind them stretched hundreds of human and allied vessels, organized in layered defensive lines. When the channel opened, every council commander saw the same image. A united fleet, calm and unshaken. Vale spoke clearly. "We were removed from your council, cut from your protection, and told to survive alone. We did. We built security where you offered debate. We offered protection where you offered delay. We built partnership where you built hierarchy. We do not seek war, but we will not kneel." Silence followed. The council admirals studied their tactical displays. Human ships were not only numerous. They were positioned perfectly, covering trade routes, guarding allied systems, interlocking shield networks. An attack would be costly, very costly, and the council chamber panic returned. "If we stand down," one delegate shouted, "we admit weakness. If we advance," another replied, "we risk destruction." Director Thalen spoke one final time. "We exiled them, believing it would limit their influence. Instead, we removed their restraint." The High Speaker hesitated. For the first time, uncertainty clouded his voice. Back on the border, a single council cruiser moved slightly forward. Testing reaction. Human sensors locked instantly. Targeting systems aligned. But no shots were fired. Vale gave a quiet order. "Hold position." The tension stretched across light years. Then something unexpected happened. Three smaller council member states pulled their fleets back. Their leaders broadcasting a joint statement. "We will not attack those who defended the innocent. We will not fight a power that honors its alliances." One by one, hesitation spread. No commander wanted to be first to fire. Minutes felt like hours. Finally, the High Speaker transmitted a final command. "Stand down." The massive council fleet slowly withdrew from the border. Not defeated, but changed. In human space, quiet relief spread. Yet no celebration erupted. There was only understanding. This was not the end. This was recognition. President Amara Khan addressed every allied system. "Today we were tested. Today we proved that unity built freely is stronger than authority imposed. We were exiled, but exile gave us clarity. From this day forward, we stand not as a rejected member, but as a sovereign union, a human empire built not on conquest, but on choice." Across the galaxy, trade lanes realigned permanently. New diplomatic channels opened. Even some council worlds requested dialogue. And in the darkness beyond, mapped space construction continued. New colonies, new fleets, new possibilities. On the command deck of Dominion Prime, Admiral Vale looked out at the stars. They thought removing humanity would make the galaxy safer. Instead, they forced humanity to grow beyond them. And somewhere in the silent halls of the council, leaders understood a truth they could no longer deny. They had not eliminated a problem. They had created a rival, one that no vote could erase, and no exile could ever contain.